What's up, guys? This is Enrique from CS 1301, and in this video we're going to go over conditionals. So if you don't remember, a conditional is a control structure. This means that conditionals, they direct the flow of your program. So in Python we have if statements. So here you can see the if. That if is a keyword, that's why it's in a different color. I don't know why I have a string there, but if statements, right? So yeah, the format of conditionals is you have your if keyword, then a Boolean expression, then after the Boolean expression you have a colon, after that some indentation, and finally the statement or statements you want to perform if this Boolean, like if this conditional becomes true. So just to remind you, Boolean expressions are expressions that are true or false. So to remind you a little bit, let's go back to the shell and let's say 3 is bigger than 5. So this is either true or false. So we know this is a Boolean expression and we can check it's false. Now let's check 5 is bigger than 3. It's a Boolean expression because it's either true or false. In this case, it's true. We also need to remind about the and or keywords. So if you don't remember, here I have a little chart where you can see, let's say true, true and true. This is a Boolean expressions because it's going to be either true or false. Here, true and true, we can go back to go to the chart and we're gonna check true and true. It's gonna become true. It's true. Yeah, here's our chart. You can look at it and refresh a little bit about it. But let's say we have 4 equals 4 or 5 is less than 10. So here we're gonna evaluate each expression. So 4 equals 4 is gonna be true. Then 5 is less than 10, that's false. So, but we have true or false. We're gonna check our chart. That's gonna give us true. So yeah, that was a little reminder of how Boolean expressions work, and they're very important in conditionals because we can only have Boolean expressions in our conditionals right here. So let's try it out. Let's say let's right here. Let's say we have a num and it's 50. So if num is bigger than 100, bigger than 10, we're going to come and print yes. So num is gonna be substituted by 50. 50 is bigger than 10, that's true. So we will perform this conditional. Let's see. And yes, we printed yes. Now let's try if num is less than 10. We're gonna print yes again. So the same is going to happen. 50 is going to come on here. 50 is less than 10. That's not true. So nothing happened, right? Because this conditional was never performed because this evaluated to false. So only things that are true are going to get evaluated. Let's go here. I have already a function and it's called number. So here we have our function called number. We're not passing a parameter which is a number. If it's less than 0 and less than negative 100, it's gonna print negative and very small, and if not, it's gonna just go back to the function. So that's one thing about conditionals. So we have our expression, our if statement, then the statement we want to perform only if this is true, and then we go back. So if this is false, we just ignore it and we keep going with our program. Indentation is really important because it's like whatever is indented, it's inside the if statement, and it will only be performed if the statement is true. So let's try this one. Number 10, well, -5. So let's go. And we only got 25. So number which was -5 is less than 0, but it's not less than -100. So we ignore this whole conditional and we keep with our program. What will have happened if we have like -200? Yeah, I will have printed negative, very small, and that number. So yeah, that's one important thing. If it's false, we just ignore the conditional, we keep going. So it's getting a little bit trickier. So we have two new keywords, Elif and else. So Elif, it's going to get performed only if that condition is met. That condition is met. So it basically is another if statement, but we're going to add it later, like here. And we're going to add another Boolean expression. Let's say number is just less than 0. We just print negative. So our program is going to go over this first if conditional. If this goes to false, then we're gonna go over our Elif. So, and if this Elif is true, we're gonna perform this Elif, right? Now with else, this will get performed if everything before it fails. If fails or is false. Is false. So let's say here we're gonna add our else colons, very important here and here. Indentation too. Else print positive, because if it's not less than 100, it's gonna be a positive number. Sorry. Print positive. Yes, okay. So here our program is gonna evaluate this if statement. If it fails, it's gonna evaluate this Elif, and if this Elif fails, we wanna perform our else. As you can see here, it's like two specific conditions, like a specific condition for this if statement, a specific condition for Elif. But we like the usefulness of else is that you don't have to have a specific condition. It's just like if everything else fails, just do this. So let's try it out. Now let's see if it's like 0. So it's gonna come here. This is going to fail because 0 is not less than -100 and it's not less than 0 itself. Then it's going to come to the Elif. Yeah, num is less than or equal to 0, so we're gonna print negative. That's why it gets printed here. And then we just keep with our program. Since we perform this Elif, we now ignore the else, because in a conditional you will only perform one of all your like possible if statements or Elif statements or else statements. So if we perform the first one, we ignore all the other ones. If we perform the second one, we ignore all the other ones, and so on. So what would happen if I had another Elif here? Elif num is bigger than 5 or bigger than 0. we print hey. So let's try it. Let's run this code again. As you can see, it's gonna come here. Oh, let's make it trickier. So as you can see, 0, this one fails, it's false, this one's true, but this one's also true. So why did only the first one got performed? And that's because why? Only the first one, like when it hits something true, it's gonna perform that if statement, and then it's gonna ignore all the other ones. So as you can see, this one's also true, but like it didn't get performed because we performed this one already. So yeah, that's the tricky part about if and elifs. Now let's see 100. Yeah, so fails, false, false. This one's true, so now we can ignore this one. And yeah, that's it. Basically, this else will never get performed because if it's we have like two conditions. If it's bigger than 0, less than 0, there's no other way we can like have an else statement here. But yeah, that's the tricky thing with elif and else. Yeah, and to end this video, we're gonna go over some tricky things that might confuse you. So let's say we have another if statement here with the same conditions. Print the end. So now let's run this and guess what will happen. Oh wait, we didn't have it. Print native 20. So here you're like guessing, you're like asking yourself, why did both get performed if you just told me like only one gets performed? Well, the tricky part here is that these two are like different conditionals, that like they're separate. Like here's like this conditional ends here, because every time you have if, you're saying start, like here's where our conditional is starting. If we have an elif here instead, only one will get performed. Let's see. Yeah, you see, this one gets performed because this is an elif. We just perform one of the whole thing, and then we do this one, we ignore all the other ones, and we keep going with our function. But yeah, that's one tricky part of ifs and elifs. So let's say all of these are if. We're actually like going to go over all of them. Let's go 0. So here we performed these two because, okay, we evaluate this one, false, false, this one's true, but this is no longer part of the same conditional because it's an if, so we are going to perform this one too, and then it is going to say true, so we print hey, and also negative before that, and finally our 0, which is this print new num. Okay, else, it's always going to be part of the conditional that's right before it. So actually these two are the same. They belong to the same conditional right now. And an if can like exist by itself, but an else cannot exist by itself. For example, we have here else, like that doesn't work. We cannot have an elif by itself either. So we can have these combinations. If by itself, then if else, and then if elif else. We cannot, like, this is not allowed. Not allowed. Elif else, else, just else. Yeah, I think that covers everything. And last, some tricky things. So the Boolean of 0 is false. Boolean of like an empty list is false. Basically everything that means nothing, like 0, like is empty, basically is like their Boolean is false. Let's say we have Boolean of 5, that one's going to be true. So by this I mean if we say if 0 print 0. So actually this is going to get evaluated to false, so we will not get we won't perform this. But like if we say not 0, this should work. Oh, let's see. If not 0. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking in another language. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking in Java. But yeah, here we actually have the not keyword too, as with and or. Yeah, so here, as you can see here, we have not, oopsie. Here, if not 0, we're gonna perform, and yeah, that's true. So if 5 print print 0, let's try that. So yeah, so the Boolean of any integer except 0, it's true. Yeah, those are like some tricky things you should just know about. And yeah, I hope you like this video. Give it a like, a comment, any feedback is appreciated, and subscribe to our channel. And yeah, good luck in your final and any test you're reviewing for.